Welcome back to another episode of the Great Indian Points and Miles Show, American Express. Why is Amex considered one of the best programs for points and miles?
Amex points never expire. As Indians, we love anything that is perennial. So Amex points stay perennially with you.
Instant. You want to transfer something to Marriott, it's instant. You want to transfer it to most airline partners, it's instant.
I want to break one perception. Amex is not only a card for premium customers.
For me, really, Amex is special because I can use it anywhere with 100% trust.
The gold card is probably the most rewarding Amex card out of all of them.
The American Express Platinum Travel. This is a no-brainer card that gives you a practically 15% return on a 4 lakh rupees spend, which is unheard of.
My recommendation is that this should be the first card that anybody should hold from Amex.
Only three knuckleheads who would be crazy about credit cards would record a podcast episode at 12:45 in the night.
Lights flashing bright, we're on the go. Tune in now, there's so much to know. Earning bits, travel dreams we sow. All aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Zero to hero in the blink of an eye. Fly first class, no need to be shy. Redemption sweet, touching the sky. Award seats booked, let's give it a try. Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo.
Welcome back to another episode of the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. First off, huge shout out to all of you for tuning in. The love you've been showing is unreal, and we hear you loud and clear. Many of you have said that you'd love a little more straight talk on the Points and Miles game. So here we are, breaking it down, making it easy, at the same time, keeping it spicy. Today, we're diving into one of India's most premium and rewarding credit card ecosystems, American Express. If you've got an Amex in your wallet or you're eyeing one, this episode is backed and packed with gold, silver, and platinum all together. Here's what you can uncover. One, which Amex cards deliver insane value in India for points and miles? Two, how to squeeze every last membership rewards point for max benefits. Three, where do we transfer these points and how do we make the most of them? And to help us crack the Amex code, I've got two absolute pros joining me, co founders of the Great Indian Points and Miles Show, Dhimant and Ameya. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks, Aadil. Thanks.
Only three knuckleheads who would be crazy about credit cards would record a podcast episode at 12:45 in the night. I don't know why we're doing this. There's something perennially wrong with us, but at the same time, I'm super excited because let's face it, Amex is where a lot of us get our points juice from. And today we get a chance to kind of sit and discuss where each of us get our Amex stash from. So let's get started. First section is what I call Why American Express. Before we get into the details, let's start with the fundamentals. Why is Amex considered one of the best programs for points and miles? Dimant, let's start with you.
Yeah, let's just break it down into the three buckets first, right? Because Amex is one of the big buckets that we've spoken about in multiple of our episodes. HDFC and Axis are the other two, right? So Amex is one of the big buckets, right? Why? Let's talk about it, right? Uh, Amex points never expire, right? And as Indians, we love anything that is perennial, right? So Amex points stay perennially with you, right? That's one reason why Amex is a great program. Second, I think Amex program is awesome because of the simple reason that it has multiple partners that you can transfer your points. Not only points in terms of miles and travel, but also if you do not have any travel plans, you can still put your Amex points to a lot of use, right? For example, We spoke about one of the inefficient redemptions that Adil had spoken about, where he converted his Amex points to cash. While it seems inefficient, I mean, no problem. 25 paise is still a great value for what you spend your money on, right? So that's why I like Amex as an ecosystem. And I third, the most important, I think it's a very professionally run program. Let's not ignore that. More likely than anything, you will find help when you are in a soup, right? Over the years, it's kind of because I think a lot of people joining in the program, it's got a little bit, uh, changed a little bit, right? But still, I think it holds meters above, let's say, the other programs in terms of the quality of support that comes with the and the tech, obviously, right? So that's the reason why I like Amex in general.
Ameya, same question. What are pros of Amex? Why do you love Amex? Is Amex one of your top three as well?
Sure, I think Dhimant covered most of it, but I think if I were to put it in fewer words, flexibility definitely. So Amex is something that you can use to get those last set of points that you need to top something up. There's a wide variety of transfer partners that you can transfer into, and you know that it's reliable, as you said, which is that. Um, Most of the transfers are instant. If you run into a situation where you say, okay, I need those points now, more often than not, this is the one you're going to rely on. So, all in all, I think yeah, it's a good program. It may not be the most rewarding program in um, all aspects. In some of them it may be, but it's good. And I think the cards are also very versatile, right? I think they've got something for every pattern of spend. You can do something like, you can pick up a gold card and spend as little as 6,000 rupees a month, and get great value. It's one of my favorite cards from what they have, for sure. Or you could spend more, and derive that additional value. It's got something for everyone.
In this age of GPT and AI and all of this stuff that's happening today, we want everything Maggie, which is everything instant, and that is where Amex comes to the rescue.
Not just that, right? But I mean, I'm sure we've run into a number of situations where we've wanted to redeem something and then the flight's not available by the time the points actually come in. Uh, it might seem as something that doesn't happen often, but I've got so many programs in which I've got 10,000 points lying here, 20,000 points lying here because of bad planning. And I think Amex is great for these times.
I want to add one thing which I think we probably missed in this discussion, right, Adil? I mean, let's consider the fact there are a lot of people who probably even don't have their first Amex card today. I want to break one perception and use this forum to break that perception. Amex is not only a card for the premium customers. Let's just break that down. Obviously, we'll talk about a little bit, in the episode later. But if you don't have your first card, thinking that Amex is a premium card and I don't need one, it's not the case, right? That's very important to understand. Secondly, from a security lens, I think Amex is a very robust card. They have a chargeback mechanism in a credit card, which is actually very fundamental in other countries. In India, it's very unheard of today. But you have the potential to, when there is a fraud that happens, you can actually contact Amex and register a request for the cancellation of that particular fraudulent transaction, and they are very supportive of how this chargeback mechanism works, right? So that were the reasons why anybody who is still thinking about getting an Amex card should get an Amex card. Just wanted to add that here as well.
I think that's great context, Dimant. And with that, talk a little bit more about the chargeback and why that's important. I think it's important to educate people listening into this particular podcast that what is a chargeback, why is it useful. Like I keep telling people, everyone, and I'm sure all of us do not make spends on debit cards or UPI because they are not protected.
Yes.
While you are making spends specifically on Amex, you know that you are very well protected. So talk a little bit more about this.
So there are two situations where chargeback can be a superpower, right? One situation I can think of, which Adil spoke about, is fraudulent transactions. When you use your card either by mistake, or you use at a merchant who is not very robust, or you use at a bad merchant and they've taken your card details. This leakages happen today. It's very common in today's world, and get transferred to the dark web when your numbers are moving everywhere. Somebody can swipe your card and use your credentials to make a fraudulent transactions, right? At such a point, when you call back Amex and tell them, hey, I have not done this transaction, this looks like a fraudulent transactions, can you please hold this transaction and uh, debit it back from the vendor who has charged this, right? So they have this ability to do that. That's one situation I can think of. The second situation I can think of, where you got deficient services or goods from a vendor who promised you X and gave you Y, and you are not happy with the service or the goods that they provided. A classic example could be you book a event or a trip with one of TripAdvisor, for example, with a merchant, right? And they tell you they're going to send a Ferrari, and they end up sending you a Maruti 800 for your pickup, right? You can essentially go back to Amex and says, these services were deficient. They actually go back, do analysis of it, and a lot of times they actually rule the same in the consumer's favor, right? So, and again, I'll tell you, I had a very very bad experience in 2003 when I booked a flight with Yatra. They refused to uh, acknowledge one of the cancellations of the flight that I had made, and I never got that money back in my account, right? So in such a scenario, I mean, this is a wonderful opportunity, right, where you can use the chargeback mechanism. That's more about it, Adil, right?
I'll tell you one more very specific thing in which Amex and their ecosystem in this sense works very well. If you have a set of foreign transactions, and there's a chance that you might need to cancel it, right? It could be a fully cancelable flight, it could be a visa appointment, and so on, right? Now, most Indian cards, if you make this kind of a transaction and then you cancel that, they're not going to refund the foreign transaction charges back to you. But if you do it with an Amex, you're always going to get the entire amount back. I think very
Awesome.
small thing, but like if you are in a place where you think that hey, there's a chance that maybe the amount is not as big, but then there's a chance that this can get refunded. You don't want to waste things on that.
Yeah, so Amay, that was the point that I was trying to drive home, right? So a lot of times cards are only compared in terms of the value that they generate or the positioning that they have. But a lot of the smaller nitty-gritties give you a lot of peace of mind and additional reasons why you should hold an Amex card, right? Not always necessary be a points reason to hold a card.
Well, it's great for points as well if you're able to use it well, and let's I think dive into that.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary what both of you said. For me, really, Amex is special because I can use it anywhere with 100% trust, and I trust Amex 100%. My favorite use case is, there are sites that you are shopping on for the first time,
Yeah,
and you're not sure about. They look legit, but you feel like अगर नहीं आया तो
exactly.
अगर जो बोल रहा है नहीं दिया तो. And that's why you can like obviously do your research, ensure the SSL certificate is there, ensure that it qualifies all the check marks and all of that, but then basically go ahead and place your order. And if it doesn't, then you call American Express. And it's happened to a lot of us in the past, where we've called American Express and they've instantly issued statement credit for the amount that has been disputed without even like going to the merchant or asking you to fill a form, scan, upload, sign, nothing. It's beautiful. On the phone, you call them and say, hey, I have this problem. They delivered, I was promised X and I got Y. They first give you the statement credit, then they say, sir, we'll fight this on your behalf, we'll come back to you. And that peace of mind is unbelievable by American Express, and that's value. All right, so with that, let's talk about American Express credit cards that we're going to talk about and discuss today. So we're going to discuss four American Express credit cards today. The first one is going to be the Platinum Travel, which is, I think, a clear favorite of most credit card enthusiasts. The second one is going to be the Gold Charge Card. The third one is what we affectionately call as MRCC, the Membership Rewards Credit Card. And the fourth one is a rather expensive one, which is the Platinum Charge Card. Unfortunately, we're not doing Centurion today, but someday, you never know. If we find someone who has that card, who's lived the life, we'd love to bring him or her on board and have that discussion about the Centurion as well. But today, we're going to be focusing on these four cards. And to do that, let's get started with the American Express Platinum Travel. Question to both of you, but starting with Dhimant. Is this card worth having if you already hold an Amex card? Should this be your first Amex credit card? Should this be your first credit card? Like, there are so many questions. Where does one start? Break it down, answer the questions, break down the features.
Sure, sure. I think first of all, I think we've spoken about this card in the previous video where we did the 2025 travel card special edition, right? So if you haven't seen the video, definitely have a look at that video. It's got a lot of interest, and a lot of people have come back and told us to do a little bit more about travel cards. So it's a very interesting card. Uh, Adil, in my head, even though this is not the cheapest or the entry level card that Amex has, my recommendation is that this should be the first card that anybody should hold from Amex. I am holding this card since 2018, right, and I have renewed this year after year to full use, right. So let me just talk about this a little bit, right. So one, it is not necessarily only a travel card, right. So let's just break it down, right. So this is a card where it's a milestone based card. There are two milestones that are defined by Amex, and when you apply for the card and when you have the card, this is specifically mentioned in the document or the booklet that you get, right. The first milestone is 1.9 lakhs. Okay, if you spend 1.9 lakhs in the year, right, anywhere, very very next to no exclusions in this milestone list, right, which is 1.9 lakhs, you basically get a 7,500 reward points in your account. Okay, you chat or call Amex, they will give you another 7,500 as a bonus. I mean, nobody knows why they don't issue all the 15,000 together, but yeah, that's the way you get 15,000 points. Uh, Everything that you spend to reach that 1.9 lakhs also gives you the base reward points. The base reward points ratio is not that great, but every 50 rupees spent will give you one MR point, right? So it piles up to the 15,000 that you already earned as the milestone, and the base rewards keep adding. Here, a point to note is that there are many exclusions in the base rewards. You may not get base reward points for fuel, for example, for government transactions, for example, and so on and so forth, right? The second milestone is at 4 lakhs, pegged at 4 lakhs, right? And the second milestone essentially adds on 10,000 more reward points to you, another 10,000 when you call them back, right? And then you also get a 10,000 rupee Taj voucher, right, which is issued. My understanding is that 4 lakhs pay, you get 10,000 plus 10,000 more when you call them, right? Essentially, the card is a milestone card, right? So there are two critical milestones that you have to achieve when you get this card. All in all, roughly 50,000 points is what you can look at very easily, Adil. So this is what Amex Plat Travel is. Now, there are different ways and strategies in which you can make this very, very efficient to use. Some people just get the card, finish the 4 lakhs in the first 4 lakhs that they spend, and then just put the card away. The second way of doing it is spend as you use, and in Diwali and some of these periods, Amex keeps releasing this bonus offers where you get more additional points for the same spends or vouchers that they issue to you, right? So for example, they'll give you an offer like spend 3 lakhs on your Plat travel card, and you'll get another 5,000 Amazon vouchers, right? So a lot of people wait for that offer to come in and then make the spend. In either case, it's an easy 50,000 points that you can earn. Plus, there is a referral benefit if you applied via somebody's referral, right? For example, if I refer a new customer, I get 8,000 to 12,000 MR. Right now, the offer is running at 12,000 MR, and or normally it's 8,000 MR that I get. But the person who also gets the card, they get an additional 4,000 MR up and above all that they are getting, right? So again, this offer keeps changing, but there's definitely always some benefit that they issue. For a lot of cards, there is a discounted first year fee, for example, right? So it keeps varying, but largely that's the Plat travel card for you.
I think that's a great summary, Dhimant. First of all, when Dhimant was talking about MR, MR is nothing but membership
Yeah.
rewards. That's what American Express calls their points
Yeah.
currency. It's called membership rewards points. So MR. So now you're familiar with MR. Second, like Dhimant says, whenever you're applying for a American Express credit card, always apply through a referral. Because if you apply through a referral, not only will you get some extra points, which you would not if you would go through a direct channel, but the person who's referring you will also get some bonus points. And the three stooges that you see on screen are currently competing over a Amex referral challenge just between us. So if you like the show, we will put our links in the show description. And if you're planning to take one of the Amex cards, do click one of those links and get the card. And let's see if we can rack up some points thanks to you. So do try and see if you can do that, and we'll see where how many points we can get thanks to you.
But you missed the most important point, Adil. Through a referral, you get a waiver in the first year fee also.
So that depends, like Deepak said, right? Sometimes they waive off the fee. Like for example, abhi
Flat travel.
flat travel mein they are charging
Yeah,
5,000 rupees, but they are giving you
correct.
10k
So either
extra
fee
points.
waiver or extra
But
points. Yeah.
the last time when the promo offer came, they weren't giving the extra points, but I think they had reduced the fee or something like that. So that is subjective.
Yeah. I believe for gold and MRCC though, you do have a fee reduction. So I think that's definitely worthwhile.
Yes, yes, you're right. Yes, on the gold and MRCC, there's a substantial fee
Yeah, yeah. The
reduction.
referral program, if you come back to on a very serious note, right, is basically Amex way of saying कि यार एक साल try करो. We will bear the
हाँ.
burden of you trying this card, and if you like us, stay with us. If you don't like, don't stay with us. I love this approach that they have, right? I mean, just keep it simple. Let the customer try the card if you like it. So if you even call the Amex customer care, right, at the end of the year, uh, typically the conversion is like that, right? Okay, how did I use it? Did the card work for me? Then they'll tell you, did you use the card for this, not used for this? And that's how the conversion typically goes. So yeah, I mean, go ahead, give it a shot.
So basically, Dhimant again switches on his what do you call P&L hat on, where he's trying to say that Amex is Amex doesn't mind sharing its CAC with you, which is your customer acquisition cost. They're saying that we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Come get a taste. But once you get locked in, then you stay locked in. I think like I remember it's been like 10, 12 plus years I have an Amex, and I refuse to kind of let go. I just enjoy them so much that I value them so much. So I think that strategy absolutely
Well,
works
Adil,
wonderful.
as a marketer, you would also agree with me that it also speaks a lot about the confidence of the product that
Oh, for
has
sure.
in the
Yeah,
products, right? Because they
yeah.
definitely know that a lot of people will stay back with the Amex Plat Travel, for example, right? So
By the way, for people who already hold the
So
cards, I'm sure you would have noticed, but if you have not, your card will have a little sign saying "member since X year." So and they issue it. It's personalized according to the card that you hold. So like, yeah, mine is like member since 2015. Look at your card, you'll be able to find it.
yeah,
धीमंत आपका क्या है?
2018.
2018. अच्छा अच्छा. Cool. So bottom line, on the Plaid travel, what Dhimant is saying is that you spend 4 lakh rupees, you get 50,000 points approximately, and on top of that, you get a 10,000 rupee voucher. So purely for the math geeks out there, this is a no-brainer card that gives you a practical 15% return on a 4 lakh rupees spend, which is unheard of, right? So I think like clearly one of the best cards out there, in my opinion. Ameya, your favorite features of the card that you want to add that maybe Dhimant might
Sure.
have missed?
You called out Math Geek. I think it is the right point for me to enter. My two favorite features in this card is number one, it's a milestone card, right? So if you are spending money, any money that you're spending towards a milestone, it is going to count for rewards, including a lot of categories that Demon mentioned that won't count for regular rewards, but they will count for milestones. So for example, if you use it to pay tax, you will still get the milestone benefits. You'll need to go through the Canara Bank portal and pay for one. Right. So number one, milestone benefit for sure, maximum optimization. Number two, you get a point for every 50 rupees that you spend, as against 100, 150, 200 that other cards do. So even if you make a spend of 60 rupees, you're gonna get regular points for that 50 rupees spend, and only 10 rupees is wasted. So I think it's a very efficient set of cards. Dhimant covered the other things. Yeah.
The one angle that I've seen a couple of people use it interestingly is there are a few of us. um, let's say there are a few people who tend to even want returns on some fundamental spends, right? Like, for example, let's say you're paying your income tax, and if you're paying your income tax, you still want to see if you can get something. Now, while Amex clearly says that it will not give you points on government transactions, those government transactions are included in the milestone benefit.
Correct.
So let's say if you are paying a lakh as advance tax, then what that means is you will not get 2000 points, which is your base reward rate of 2%. But that 1 lakh does count in the spend milestone, which means to now get to your first milestone of 1.9 lakhs, you just have to spend like 90,000
Yeah.
rupees. And once you do that, you pocket 15,000 plus the 2% that you did on 90,000, which is going to be a good 19,500 points. So I think that's another pretty good feature of this particular card.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, let's come to the next one. The next one is the American Express Gold Charge Card. Let's start with you, Ameya. A question that a lot of people might have: what is a charge card? Is it similar to a credit card? Is it different? Why is it called a charge card? And then let's get into the specifics of the gold. Tell us, if you have the gold, why do you have the gold?
Sure. By the way, this is one of my most favorite cards inside out of all the Amex cards that are there. I don't hold a gold right now because I took the platinum charge upgrade last year. But once that runs out in 2 3 months, I'm going to go back to taking a gold. To your first question, what's a charge card? Essentially, think of a charge card as a card without a preset credit limit, right? So, essentially, depending on how good your credit history is and your spending patterns and whatnot, Amex may allow you to spend a significantly larger amount of money if you need to. You can also call them and say that, hey, I've got a big purchase coming up, and you're able to use it. So, it is something that can certainly help in those situations. But coming back into why the gold card is one of my favorite cards, right? The gold card is probably the most rewarding Amex card out of all of their cards for me. And it comes about due to the following features, right? So essentially, how it works with gold is that he says if you make 6 transactions of 1,000 rupees in a given month, you are going to get a bonus 1,000 membership reward points, right? Now, if you make, for example, now this is what it translates into. If you make 6 transactions at a regular vendor person, say 1,000 rupees, 6 transactions in a month, that is going to get you 1,000 plus 120 points, right? So 1,120 points for about 6,000 rupees that you spend every month. But here's the kicker: you can use this to buy vouchers on the Amex voucher portal, the gifter portal, and Gold Card actually has a 5x on vouchers. So essentially, what you get is you spend 6,000 rupees and you're going to get voucher, essentially 1,600 points, which is, I think, a great return. And some of these vouchers, anyway, you can use for regular spends. You want to go to like a Mintra, you want to get Uber vouchers. It is also one of the best cards to get Amazon Pay vouchers, according to me. Now, Amazon Pay, yes, recently they started charging an extra 1% fees on the portal. But still, I mean, you're letting go of 1% fees and you're still getting 1,600 membership rewards for 6,000 Amazon Pay vouchers that you get. And these Amazon Pay vouchers you can use to pay all of your bills, right? So you pay your broadband bill, phone bill, insurance, electricity bill, pay for flights. There's a number of things that you can do with that. So it's a super versatile currency, and this is one habit that I definitely have every month, which is pick up 6,000 worth of Amazon Pay. That's what I use my gold card. Well, I don't have it anymore. I use my wife's card for that, but. I mean, it's something. It's one card I would say across your family. Pick up as many as you need to, just for the sheer value that it gives you. The downside is obviously you're only spending up to 6,000 rupees a month for optimal usage. You can definitely spend more, but the sheer value that it gives you is unparalleled.
All right, Dhimant, do you have the charge card? Why? If you do, why? If you don't, why not?
Yeah, I have the card, and like I'm going to talk about a little bit. But before we do that, Amaya, one thing which I think from a charge card lens, I think the charge card is also something where, as a concept, you need to pay the bill in full. It doesn't officially allows you to pay the minimum due and keep rotating the
Oh
extra
yeah.
charge that you have, right? So that's one additional thing that people need to know before they apply for a charge card. The reason, Adil, why I use this card and I like this card is, in their parlance, while this card fee is very low, they actually treat it as a very premium card. Amex does treat it as a very premium card, right? And why I say that is, a lot of offers that they run for the platinum charge, they will extend it to the gold charge also as an addition, right? So perfect example is, at least my and others' favorite is the Truffet and Hill offer, right? So we go there for pampering ourselves, having a nice massage and a haircut sometimes, and surprisingly, they've extended the offer not only to platinum charge but also to gold charge, right? So that's one reason why I like this card. The second reason, obviously, is what Amay said: the maths just works. I mean, this is the only card in the ecosystem which, for that 6,000 spend, gives you some 13-14% return, if I'm not mistaken, right? So from a value perspective, it's a bang on. And I think the third reason for me is, I don't think any 5,000 rupees card actually looks so good. I love the card. I mean, it's kick-ass design. I wish they had this gold card in metal. I would definitely be the first person to get it in metal if it was in metal, right? So
Devant, have you seen the US edition of the gold card? So they have this nice rose gold variant. That's beautiful.
Exactly. They have a very cool rose gold.
exactly. But is that a metal one or is it plastic one like India?
It's a plastic card only.
नहीं एक इसका प्लैट चार्ज मेटल रोज गोल्ड वेरिएंट है ना.
Black charge is just regular. This one, I think.
Oh, for some reason I thought they had a rose gold variant as well.
Maybe in a different country. I don't know. I mean, I know someone who has a plastic rose gold card.
But you do agree that the classic gold, even that would look kick-ass in metal, no?
Oh yeah.
Like the color is so nice. I mean, it would just sit well in my purse, man.
All right, let's come to our next one. So what we've discussed so far is, we've discussed the platinum travel, we've discussed the gold charge card. Let's come to our third card that we call MRCC, or the American Express Membership Rewards Credit Card. Dimant, why don't you get us started on this one?
Yeah, so like the way I call this card is a Chota Bhai of the Gold Charge Card, right? So because it's, for some reason, this Amex loves this feature of saying ki you do 6 transactions, 4 transactions. So MRCC is that card which is essentially known for the 4 transactions per month into 1,500 rupees. So you pick up the card every month, charge 1,500 rupees, and spend it 4 times. You get 1,000 rupees bonus points, right? Number one. Uh, Unfortunately, unlike the gold charge, does not have a 5x multiplier on the Amex reward multiplier. You cannot buy vouchers and get 5x on it, right? So it gives a 2x, right? So the ratio is not that great. So from a value perspective, it still is a very good card, right? Including the 1,000 points. There is one more milestone where if you spend 20,000 in the month, you get another 1,000 rupee voucher. Please do remember, sorry, 1,000 points. Please do remember that this offer you need to opt in once in a lifetime. You have to call Amex or they send you a link and you need to opt in for that offer. So essentially, what you now have is, you've done 1,500 into 4 transactions. You got your 1,000 bonus points. You did another 20,000. You got 1,000 bonus points, and then you got the base spends wherever you spent it. You'll get that much of rewards. The same 50 rupees will give you 1 MR, right? So that's pretty much it, right? So while the value is slightly lower than gold, but the fees of the card is also lower than the gold charge card, right? So from that lens, it works as an entry level card for many people. Now, would I recommend doing the additional 10,000, 20,000 spend on the MRCC card? It depends. An interesting thing to note is that this card also has a fee waiver option, right? So if you actually spend that additional 10,000 every month and 20,000 every month and get that 1,000 points, you will also qualify for the free waiver, and almost it becomes like a lifetime free card for you, right? So I call it a Chota Bhai of the gold charge card. But very interestingly, Adil, I think this is a Amex Trifecta as a concept which we keep seeing on Twitter and a lot of these places. I just want to dumb it down for people, right? So some of the powers of the Amex cards multiply if you hold these three cards together, right? Now there are three reasons. Let me just cover the three reasons, right? So each one has different sweet spots, right? So which means that if you have uh, unique spends. You can spend on each of the card and accumulate all the points or all the MRs in one specific account, right? So they're adding up. So let's take an example of the Amex Plat Travel. You got 50,000 points. It's in your account. You got another 1,000 into, let's say, 12,000 points from the Gold Charge Card, and plus the base points, whatever you get. It adds up to your 50,000 points, right? And then you also have MRCC pay points accumulating. So if you hold these three cards together, you can probably look at scoring 1 lakh points a year in a very simple way, right? So that's one way of looking at it. The second advantage is that Amex Plat Travel has a decent offering, but the MRCC and the Gold Charge also add some extra reward benefits to your conversion maths. So you can now avail something called an 18 carat and 24 carat collection of rewards, which only get added to your account if you have either an MRCC or Gold Charge, right? It doesn't come with the Amex Plat Travel. So now you unlocked a second set of rewards, right? That's the second thing. The third thing is that if you don't want to still, let's say, hold the topmost variant of Amex, which is the Plat Charge, right? Because you feel that this card is not for me, you still with these three cards are almost earning a decently good number of reward points, right? So look at it as a three cards put together, a total like one power types car, right? So that's why people call it the Amex Trifecta, right? So I would say if you are starting the Amex journey, the first card should be the Amex Plat Travel. And on a very lighter note, once you do a VKYC, right, for 30 days, you don't need to do another VKYC. So if you want to really get the trifecta, एक महीने में तीनों apply कर दो. That's what I did. I did for myself and my wife the same thing, right? Because I hate going on to this VKYC call, showing your Aadhaar card. Once the card gets issued, they do minimal checks for the remaining two cards, right? So the right way to do it is, if you are keen on accumulating MR points, get all the three cards together and on them, right? So that's what I would say, Adil.
I think that's a very good summary. Ameya, do you have a point or two to add there?
Largely, I think this is what it is, and it's, there's a lot of flexibility as it offers as well. Like, say for example, I'll tell you how I use my Amex 3 in some sense, right? For me, Amex Gold, it is a no-brainer. You shut your eyes, buy Amazon Pay vouchers, get done with it. I use that towards paying all of my bills, and these are uh, like, necessities. This is not even like, I'm splurging on whatever. This is, I know consistently I will have that many bills every month. 6,000 goes towards this thing. I get a great return there. So essentially, with Amazon Pay, you have the ability to pay pretty much all of your utility bills. Most of your electricity companies are covered, water companies are covered. Then mobile broadband is covered, DTH recharges are covered. You get into things that you need to plan for a little more. For example, insurance premiums. My insurance premiums are in March, so I do ensure that by the time my insurance premium date comes in, I have stacked up enough Amazon Pay that I'm able to just one shot and get my premiums done with. Um, so I mean, it's a wide variety, and let's share the entire list on screen. And I also know that these are consistent, very predictable expenses. So then it's a no-brainer that, okay, first of the month, go pick these up, and you're able to use them. On top of that, I buy 4,000 more worth of Amazon Pay vouchers using my Plat Travel card every month. Again, it's predictable. Part of it is because also the portal imposes that you're only allowed to get 10,000 worth of Amazon Pay vouchers per account per month. So if there's multiple accounts, that number becomes 20,000 for you or 30,000 for you, and so on. But for my spends, for 6,000 gold straight up on Amazon Pay vouchers, 4,000 Plat Travel because it has a 3x compared to an MRCC 2x. So 4,000 on Plat Travel goes straight towards vouchers. MRCC almost exclusively 5,000 rupees for transactions goes towards paying income tax, advance tax extra, right? Because I mean, you do whatever, like I think it adds up for me, and I think it works out. Platinum Travel for me is like a flexible card. So Platinum Travel, I use it for places where there's no other offers going on. It gives you a very healthy rate, and towards the end, I will always use it to do stuff like, okay, buy vouchers, buy, pay tax, and so on. So as long as you're able to hit these limits, I think it is very fruitful. Again, this is how I use my cards. Someone else might be able to use it in a different way. For example, I know a lot of people use Amex Gold as a fuel card, right? Now the painful part is you got to fill only 1,000 rupees worth of fuel every time you make a swipe, but you get like great points, and it's one of the most rewarding fuel cards in that sense. You could theoretically use it for paying advance tax. Amex Gold actually gives you points for your government transactions as well, and the value over there even goes even better than what something like a plat travel gives you. But you're trading some of the convenience and opportunity costs over there.
I think the only thing about the fuel thing which you mentioned is the other pain that comes with fuel is going to an HP fuel pump only, because it only gives the fuel surcharge waiver on
Correct.
HP fuel pump. So that's another bummer, because I know a lot of people who keep struggling to find an HP pump sometimes. So yeah, you need to be careful.
But even if you disregard the waiver, it's still a great return.
But I agree. That I agree. Makes sense.
All right, I think we've covered the Amex trifecta. Now let's grab the big bull by the horns. Let's talk about the American Express Platinum Charge Card. So this card obviously has a lot of fans. It also has a lot of naysayers. It has a lot of optimists locked in. It has a lot of realists who say stay away. Having said all of that, all three of us have this card. Whether we will continue to hold, that is something that we can all have a nice debate on. But let's get started by breaking this down. It's a card that comes at an annual fee of 66,000 rupees plus taxes, which means that you're going to be shelling out 78,000 rupees a year just to have this card. Is it worth it? What all can you get out of it? Let's break it down. Dhimant, you want to get us started?
Yeah, so first of all, I closed my card just a week back. So theoretically, I don't own the card anymore. But from a lens of why I got the card, let me start with it, right? So, first, I think, and the most critical element, I think, which is the undisputed king, is the joining bonus, right? So, a lot of people just get this card for the joining bonus, and I did for the same reason. So, the offer which I got the card under was 1.35 lakh MR. So, the 1 lakh MR come immediately at paying the fee. The 35,000 was a spend based criteria that I got, right? So the offer keeps on varying, right? I want to hear on the lighter note the offer that Ameya got, because he's going to talk about one nice gift that he got from Amex. But yeah, I mean, that's what I got the card for, honestly, right? And then there were obviously other things which I was trying to convince myself कि ये भी अच्छा है, वो भी अच्छा है. For example, gold status of Marriott. So a platinum charge card gives you few statuses together along with it, right? Which are elite statuses which cannot be earned very easily, right? So Marriott Bonvoy Gold Elite was one of them, right? And that's why I got the card. I used that status, but honestly, I couldn't use that card that much in the entire year, Adil, right? So for me, I mean, would I get the card again? Maybe again when I need a big sign up bonus, I would, but otherwise, I don't plan to renew the card and use it and take it again.
Amya, you wanna break down your thoughts for this particular card?
I think largely similar, right? So I think you always come into the card for the welcome bonus, but you stay with the card if certain things work out for you. And I can probably call out few things that might make the card definitely a lot more worthwhile, right? So number one, I think the Marriott Gold. Marriott Gold is something that worked out well for me. I know you use it extensively, Adil, as well. And again, the persona is if you do need to travel a lot for work, this is something that can help you, because Marriott Gold essentially means that any revenue spend that you have, you're going to earn 25% extra points. Plus, occasionally, if your status is even better, it will give you, some welcome gifts and so on. So, if you have work travel, it number one helps you with respect to boosting points. The second thing I want to call out is it enables you to do the platinum challenge, which is essentially saying that okay, you call up Amex and you tell them that hey, I want to do the platinum challenge. I think we covered it in the other episode, but I think TLDR is you spend 15 nights within a certain 3 months or 4 month period. I think it's 3 months, and it takes you straight to the platinum status, and there's a softer landing as well. So that one is great. So Marriott Gold itself, through this, I think it is useful. There's also a great offer going on right now. So if you, for example, have potential office travel coming up in the next 2 3 months coming, I think it's until Aprilish, you're getting an additional 1,000 bonus points per I think per night or something when you do it. So I think from a multi-dip kind of a perspective, timing wise, this might work out well. You have to keep looking out for the offers. I essentially got the card at the time when I knew that I had some upcoming extensive travel coming in, and I was able to squeeze out the most out of it. Some of the other hotel memberships are great as well. So, for example, you get the Epicure membership, which gives you 25% on food and beverages on Taj. And by the way, we have the perception that Taj is like, super expensive, and this, it doesn't have to be. I think one of definitely my favorite places in Bangalore, I think you guys know about it, is the Seven Rivers, which is there in the Taj Trinity. It's a great place to relax. It's not too expensive. Good food, good drinks, and 25% extra you can anyway use with the Epicure membership, and use an HSBC Life Plus card for a bonus 10% double dip. So,
I was going to tell Adil, so when I'm planning a meetup in Bangalore, right? Ameya always messages me on the site saying कि Seven Rivers से मिले क्या? Like it's like almost his favorite place. Always want to meet there.
it's a great place. It's a great vibe, and it's not that expensive. Like I think for a premium place.
Yeah, Ameya, very very I'll give you an insight which you may not know, right? You spoke about the value that it's not expensive. The reason why Taj started it in Bangalore as an experiment was this: they genuinely believed that a lot of people hang out at breweries, etc., and like getting young people to come and experience Taj is like an entry point is the Seven Rivers, right? So it's priced as per the other breweries. It's not priced as per
I
Taj,
see.
right? And in Goa, they've started a independent Seven Rivers now. So Seven Rivers is now becoming an independent joint altogether. It's not necessarily a Taj thing.
I see. So this is one thing with respect to value. The other place where you can get value is they have a bunch of these multiplier offers that can certainly help out, right? Like say for example, just last month there was a Tanishq offer in which I think essentially TLDR was you spend a lakh and you're gonna get 25,000 points or something like that, which is pretty good value. They also have a great offer with respect to Air India. Like if you want to book Air India tickets on revenue, you will get a great multiplier. So then there's Tata Click, in which there is a good 10x kind of an offer. So I think with all of these put together, there are ways to squeeze out value, but whether that value is sufficient enough for you to justify the renewal fees is a call that everyone will have to take.
So, but मेरे को प्रॉब्लम ये रहती है कि and again I don't like in that being in that scenario where I'm constantly thinking about कि मैंने फीस भर दिया है अब मेरे को वैल्यू निकालना है like and that is where I think in that zone hence I believe that if you are somebody who's contemplating getting the card because Amex has been sending you these emails right कि 1.5 लाख रुपए ले लो 1.5 लाख पॉइंट ले लो 1.4 lakh point ले लो I think the simple equation that you should use in your head is if you need to try and justify that don't get the card if you know how to get and already know how to use those points definitely go for it. I think that's the simple formula I would give anybody who wants to take a call on this card. Adil, you are the expert here, man. Like love to hear your thought on this.
I think you all summed it well, Dhimant. So for me, the writing's on the wall. The current offer, spend 78,000 rupees, you're getting 150,000 points. If you know how to use those 150,000 points, it's a no-brainer. Take the card. बाकी एक और फीचर जस्टिफाई करने की जरूरत नहीं है. There's absolutely no need to look at any other feature. But there are two kinds of people in the market. One, there are people who are like, I'm spending X amount of money. ये spend करने से whatever returns I'm getting, that forms my vacation kitty. Then there is another persona in the market which says that, hey, what I have earned from my credit card spends is not enough. I need some more top up currency. Or I have a lot of business travel, or I do multiple vacations, or there is another need because my family is larger. Maybe I have parents, I have kids, and therefore it's a 6 people vacation, not a couple vacation. So therefore I need more points. इस केस में क्या होता है? Then I think this 150k MR becomes extremely lucrative. You shouldn't think about it as a card to get, but think about it as an expense, saying that if you're thinking of staying at a particular portfolio like Marriott or flying a particular airline like Krisflyer or Emirates or Etihad, where you have definitive plans to travel, then this becomes like a great buying opportunity of a card. But so I would definitely take it sheerly for the 150,000 points, because I think like you're buying them for like 50 odd paisa, 52, 53 paisa, and that just makes sense because more often than not, there are enough and more proven ways to extract more than 1 rupee out of each of those points. So you can typically 2x your money. But I think features that I really enjoy is you get access to 1300 plus airport lounges worldwide. And the cool part about this is you get 4 add-on cards for free.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay extra money. So I have it for my wife, I have it for my aunt, I've got it for both my parents. So therefore, we've got 5 plat charges for the price of one. Obviously, the rest are add-ons. Everybody gets worldwide lounge access for free, which is very, very cool. This includes the American Express Centurion lounges. This includes the Priority Pass lounges. This includes the Delta Sky Club lounges, but that is only when you're flying Delta. If you're not flying any other lounge, fir nahi milega. You'll get it only with that. You'll also get domestic partner lounges in India. The second thing is, if you are the one who flies business or first a lot, then there is this interesting thing. You can call up Amex and say, yeah, I'm looking for this particular business fare or first fare. Oftentimes, they'll give you a 25 to 50% off on the business or first fare if you're paying revenue. But keep in mind that oftentimes will happen only on Flex or Flex Plus fares. Saver fares, it is hard to kind of score this. So much so that last time when I was calling them, I wanted to go to US. They offered me a very, very good ticket. On Virgin, they gave me Bangalore, New York one way at 2.1 lakhs. Now, that on business is a fantastic fare. Now, I didn't take it, of course, because the dates didn't work out for me. But I think like if you're willing to spend money on business, then this is a good card. Although there are better cards that can also give you equally exciting value, but this is an interesting feature for those of you who have specific dates to travel on and you care about which airline you want to kind of fly on. The third is what they call the Fine Hotels and Resorts Worldwide program, which is FHR. Now, normally, if you are booking, let's say, premium brands like the Ritz Carlton, the Vanderbilt, Hyatt, Hilton, any of these, you book directly through the website, they charge you a particular rate. Amex can match that rate because they're part of FHR. They'll give you free breakfast, they'll give you guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout, and they'll also give you a $100 credit. So I think this is an interesting one. Again, if you like living in luxury properties of sorts as a benefit. Uh, the next one is like the interesting one that Ameya spoke about, right? Which is your elite tire memberships. So you have no status in any of these programs. You get bumped up straight to Marriott Gold, which makes your platinum status challenge very, very easy. Where you just have to do 16 nights in a 4 month window, and you'll get platinum. That can be hacked if you have like stays planned, because then you can get lounge access free, breakfast free, so on and so forth. So that's its own rabbit hole. You get Hilton Honors Gold status free. Again, that's an interesting one. There's Radisson and Hertz, but I think like Hertz ko bhi light low, because there are far more interesting apps like Turo and 60 that give you better benefits. It gets you the Postcard Sunshine Club Platinum Tire. Now, off late, I've seen a lot of people enjoying the postcard hotels in India, and they've kind of built their own executive swag. Like, for example, I love this feature which is have breakfast anytime. ये बहुत इरिटेटिंग चीज मेरे को लगती है, वेयर इन ऑल होटल्स दे से यार 10:30 बजे ब्रेकफास्ट खाता हूँ. यार क्यों? मैं वेकेशन पे हूँ. आई वांट टू स्लीप एंड आई विल गेट अप एट 12 noon.
In Adil style, you will say, भाई 12 बजे breakfast करेगा.
अरे नहीं Dhimant, so I discovered this for the first time in Singapore. Okay, so I was just looking at hotels and I was going there for I think I was going there for work, and we were budget bound also, तो थोड़े constraints थे. So trying to find accommodation, found this one called Hotel Quincy. मेरे को Quincy बहुत मजा आया, क्योंकि Quincy said you can have breakfast as late as you like, subject to a max time of 3 p.m. Yeah, अच्छा है यार. So, like typically I don't feel hungry in the morning. So what I would do is I would go to my meetings, finish my meetings, come back, and then have a beautiful Asian style Benedict on sardo, which was served with some Asian sauces, which was fantastic. And that was open till 3 p.m. So, you would go. They had unlimited lounge access 24/7. which is another signature feature of Quincy Hotel, so on and so forth. So I'm so happy to see, Postcard has brought this to India. And, people can eat when they like. When they're hungry, they should do breakfast. Now, not like because it's free, to tab jaake kha lo of sorts. So I think you get the platinum tier of the Postcard Sunshine Club, which is cool. Very recent update is they've added the Accor Plus Traveler membership, which is cool. They also have this I prefer, I think, but it's not something that I have used and don't have much to say there.
It'll be interesting to see the Accord Traveler thing because they stopped selling Accord Traveler as an independent member.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting what they do with the Platinum Charge.
Here's my favorite feature about the Traveler, right? The sexy part is the food F&B discounts that you get there. And again, people will make fun of this. Adil talks about food all the time. But here's the thing. So if you're in Bombay, let's say you're in BKC, you want to do a business meeting, go here to Sofitel. It's a brilliant hotel. It's lovely French hospitality right there in BKC. And if you got the Traveler membership, if two people are dining, you get 50% off in any of the restaurants, right? So that, it just makes so much sense. Similarly, if you're at Pullman, Delhi, you're by the Aerocity, you go there. They've got a fantastic restaurant down. Go get your 50% off and have a great meal, right? So I think these are soft benefits that you need to be smart about utilizing as and when you're traveling. And the cool part is these F&B benefits apply APAC wide, not necessarily just India wide, right? Anywhere in Asia, these benefits apply. One of the benefits that I've not tried, but my former boss has tried, and he continues to try because he enjoys this benefit, is they have a very cool 50% off on suites at the Oberoi hotels and resorts. So, like in Rajasthan, Udaipur, Jaipur, Oberoi has got fantastic properties where if you book via Amex, you get 50% off on suites. So again, I have never had the courage to spend this kind of money, but there are people who indulge every now and then. And if you're getting 50% off, so why not, right? And So I think that also has another offer where you get a complimentary night if you book two or more nights for a club room or a suite at any Lalit property in India. So I think that's another one that exists. So I think broadly those are the plat charge benefits in my opinion. But like we discussed, there are two ways to look at it. If you think any of these are adding value for you and your family, go for it. But if you're just going for the points, a lot of us find value in the points itself. But keep one thing in mind: you will get the points only for the first year. You're not going to get 150k again for the second year. What Amex says is that if you spend 20 lakh rupees a year in my if my memory serves me correctly, then what will happen is you'll get 35,000 points as your renewal benefit. That according to me, and if you spend more, then I'm sure they can negotiate and give you better terms. But that's like the minimum threshold they've defined for this year. So that's like a quick summary on the Plat Charge Card. Ameya, Dhimant, anything you all would like to add to close off Plat Charge?
No, I think from my side, I feel that the decision whether you want to try out the card or not, in general, for the remaining three cards is a very easy decision. But this card is not a very easy decision. So my decision is basically saying कि if you can utilize, वो हम बता देंगे यार कि 1.5 लाख point कैसे use करना है. So give it a shot if you really want to use the 1.5 lakh point. Uh, it's worth trying the card once is what I would say. But again, when I think you need to time it well.
All right, let's jump on to our next section, which is Amex Transfer Partners and Redemptions. Question for both of you, Amya and Dhimant, starting with you, Dhimant. Once you've earned your points, where should you transfer them? And I'm going to give you three scenarios. The first scenario is for Dhimant. I'm going to put Amya, I'm going to put you on a. I'm just going to surprise you and ask you the second scenario, and then we'll rotate back to Dhimant again for the third scenario. Scenario one, Dhimant, you have just got the card, you're very new, you've completed 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, you have 50,000 American Express points in your account.
Got it.
You keep in mind, we're all travel buffs, so we'll talk only travel related redemptions. What travel slash holiday experience can one plan with 50k Amex points? What would you do?
Okay, so because I have a family of three and most of the my planning happens for a family of three, let me give a good suggestion for a family of three. If I have 50,000 American Express MR points, I would plan a trip to Goa, right? Two, three reasons, right? One, uh, Taj has some good properties in Goa. First of all, I think good options. I mean, Aguada is obviously a very awesome property. There is the holiday village right next to Aguada, and then there is South Goa where you can opt for some more peaceful properties, right? If you always had this dream of living in a luxury hotel and take your family along with you, I think this is the perfect way of doing it, right? Obviously, I've seen this recent memes of saying कि यार गोवा क्यों जाना है Thailand चले जाओ, but Goa has a special place for in everybody's minds and heads, right? So the way I would do it is if you have the Amex Trifecta, Adil, there is something called the 18K and the 24K rewards, right? You get Taj vouchers at a preferential rate, and you can convert these 50K MR to Taj vouchers at a preferential rate, right? Number one. Number two, at the 4 lakh milestone, if I have completed with the Amex Plat Travel, which most people will complete because 4 lakh log spend kar lete hain credit card pe, and this is the first card you should finish a 4 lakhs on, you essentially also get a 10K Taj voucher, right? So if I combine my vouchers that I bought with, let's say the MR that I've got in the 18K and the 24K collection, I add on that 10K voucher. And the third and the beautiful aspect is if I still have pending Taj bills to pay, I can still go to the reward multipliers website, use my gold charge card, and earn bonus points on that. Right. So it doesn't matter whether the bill is 50,000 rupees or 60,000 rupees or 70,000 rupees. It's very, very efficient to use the Taj vouchers. Right. So that's what I would do other with the 50,000 reward points.
I will add one quick tip for viewers for Taj specifically. Well, two things I will add. One thing is please double dip with Krisflyer. We can add a link here, but essentially for every $1 that you spend, you get two Krisflyer miles. But second thing is you get the best redemption from vouchers if you're booking the weekend getaways package, right? Because Taj will not allow you to redeem these vouchers against member rates, but if you do the two night weekend getaway, you will get similar rates and you're able to get maximum value from the vouchers.
So, for example, when I did my Goa trip, I was going to Taj Aguada. On the website, when I opened the Taj Aguada hotel, there are three fares. One is the base fare. They will give you a discounted fare a lot of times, right? Saying, कि, okay, I'll give you 2,000 rupee discount, which is the member rate because I am a Taj member. And the third option is there are packages and deals, right? These packages will be like a monsoon package, a Valentine getaway or whatever, right? And that will have lunch, dinner, everything put together. What Amex says is, or the Taj team says is that if you have an Amex voucher, you cannot book the copper or the member rates that are available to you, right? So, what Amay is saying is, rather than taking the base fare and pay the full 12,000 rupees per night instead of the 10,000 rupees of discounted, just opt for a 15,000 rupee fare, which will give you lunch, breakfast together, or like a package together, because that is allowed as per the terms and conditions. Right. So yeah, we did that same thing.
And it's a great call out because I think overall, see, Taj is an aspirational thing. I've probably stayed only once in Taj so far. But with regular spends, it is very much achievable using Amex. Like 50,000 is essentially, yeah, I think very well doable with one plat travel plus another of the cards.
And by the way, Amay, if you have that Epicure membership that you spoke about, you can also not only stay at the property but get additional discounts at spa and
Food and
food.
beverages, yeah, 25% you
Yeah,
get on top.
Right? So 50,000 points, if you have 50,000 Amex points, you can do a Taj holiday, right? And Dhimant broke it down for you. Let's talk about scenario two. Ameya, bring you in here. You have 100,000 points. What are you going to do?
Sure. So one of the best things you can do, four tickets one way to Hong Kong. So if you're a family of two, you get a round trip to Hong Kong uh, in points, completely in points, perfectly in points, without a single point being wasted, and you have to pay taxes on top. But yeah, you get your holiday tickets sorted out.
how does
So,
that?
if you want to redeem on Cathay Pacific, right? So, and which is one of the sweet spots for Cathay. So, a Bangalore Hong Kong or a Chennai Hong Kong is going to cost you 12,500 Cathay points or Asia miles for a one-way ticket. and Amex has a 2 to 1 conversion ratio. So yeah, essentially you're going to be getting 50,000 cafe points, which is equal to 4 flights. 12,500 into 4 is 50,000.
Yeah, but Adil, this is, I think, the point that you were mentioning, right? So let's take an example of this particular example, right? So you actually can extract much more value than the defined value that Amex assigns to it, right? So I have done this same itinerary that Amaya spoke about, both on revenue and on points, and essentially you actually get a 2 rupee or a 2.5 rupee value if you book it, via points. It's a perfect example. Very.
Also, another very cool thing about this particular example is um, Cathay has large inventory even like 1 day or 2 days prior to travel.
Yeah.
Most carriers will not have that. And you will have not just like 2 or 3 seats available. It can be 6, 7 seats also, is what I've seen in terms of inventory when I'm running my searches, right? I think up to 8 is what I've seen max. But चार तो
Yeah, yeah,
आसानी
yeah.
से मिल जाएगा even for the next 48 hours notice most of the times. So that last moment redemption also very, very possible on Cathay.
And Hong Kong is an awesome place. Yeah, it's an awesome place. And if you have a car, like you can almost do the trip for free, man. Like both the stay and the travel. Amazing suggestion.
All right. Back to you, Dhiman. 200K. What are you going to do?
200K. I wish I had 200K right now, but I don't. But Adil, what I would do is I would do a Maldives trip, right? So you know we've been speaking about this, right? There is a Sheraton Maldives, and there are a few other properties in Maldives. I think if you have a Maldives trip, right, planned, the 200K can be put to perfect use, right? So that's one way of thinking about it. A second way of thinking about it also is that if you want to do Maldives, the perfect time for you to get the plat charge, which gives you that 125, and then the remaining 50, 75, whatever you earned via the three other cards, puts you in that 200K zone, Adil. That's what I would do, Adil.
Oh yeah, I've done this in the past, and I can tell you it's an experience you'll quite cherish for the rest of your life. I've been to the Sheraton in Maldives. I've also been to Lee Meridian the year it opened,
Oh,
and both of these are spectacular resorts. Obviously, rate the Lee Meridian way higher. The fun fact about Sheraton is kids eat free.
oh,
So it doesn't matter whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They serve kids anytime whatever they want for free. So if you're like me or Dhiman who've got kids, then Sheraton is like an excellent choice. Having said that, there's something magical about Lee Meridian. It is truly like stuff of dreams. You can go there and the vibe, the beach, the corals, the O water villa, majestic. And because I mean, when I went there, I was Marriott Platinum, so I got upgraded both of the times without asking for free. And when you for points and miles geeks, if you are getting upgraded without asking, it hits different. It just hits different. And therefore, I think, like Demon said, if you want to do a Maldives holiday, then you know do it for 78,000 rupees by getting the platinum charge card.
yeah,
But उसमें एक चीज याद रखो, if you are planning to do Sheraton, then you can do the whole thing for free. You'll have to pay like something like $90 as taxes or something like that, which is fine. But if you are planning to do any other resort in Marriott other than Sheraton, then you'll have to pay seaplane
yeah.
transfers. Seaplane transfers are $900 for every two people. Per couple, you'll have to pay $900. And seaplane is nothing fancy. You feel it's fancy, but actually, it's just like, your pilots are wearing shorts and chappals and they are flying your planes and they're the ones who load your luggage.
Yeah, but
It's a chotusa plane, right? Like 8 people will fit in it. More often than not, it'll be just the two of you going in that plane. It's like a 30 to 40 minute ride at max. It takes you, drops you really quickly. But the cool part about Marriott is, when you land at the airport, the best part, it's a 90-minute flight from Bangalore. So 1.5 hours you're there. एयरपोर्ट पे पहुंचो, वो एक बढ़िया सी लाउंज पे लेके जाता है, तुमको बिठाता है, ड्रिंक्स एंड फूड इज फ्री, हैव अ गुड टाइम, दे कॉल यू, दे टेक योर लगेज, there's no boarding, they just take you to your plane, you board, in 5 minutes you fly out. and then you reach the island, they welcome you. It's a great
But Adil,
experience.
tell me one thing. Like you said that Sheraton में वो जरूरत नहीं है because you go by the boat, is it? In Sheraton.
You go by speedboat. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
you go by speedboat. You don't need a seaplane because it's close by to the airport.
And the second thing is that if you now that you've done Maldives, what would be your
Yeah.
suggestion for using 200K then? Tell us your secret then. What are you gonna do?
Because I've already done Maldives, my favorite program is Emirates because I travel a fair bit for work, and for that, for North America, I feel like the best travel option from India is Emirates because 16 hours of pure bliss, even in economy, is only Emirates, in my opinion. And oftentimes than not, I book economy, and then because I have the Emirates Skywards membership, if I use Flex Plus as a fare in economy, then I will get Bangalore to North America through and through for like 45,000 Emirates miles, which is equal to 90,000 Amex. Now, the whole game changes if you're kind of using Saver. Because if you're using the Saver fare, first of all, you will be allowed the upgrade only 48 hours prior to departure, which does not make sense in my opinion. Secondly, the mileage requirement goes to 110K Emirates, which is unaffordable in terms of miles. What happens is if you're, let's say, Emirates Gold, uske upar, let's say, if you have Skywards Plus subscription, it discounts your mileage requirement by 20%. And then if you take the Flex Plus, it further discounts the mileage requirement even more, and that's how you come at that 40 or 45K sweet spot. And sometimes, like I said, for the short haul sectors, it's never happened to me from Bangalore to Dubai. It's always happened to me from Dubai to Bangalore. Short haul sectors, they've upgraded me without asking, without any mileage points deduction or anything. And it's happened to me 4 times in a row. I hope this healthy streak continues. I pray for it.
Awesome, awesome.
All right. So now that we've talked about redemptions, you heard it. You've got a 50K redemption Taj. You've got a 100K redemption by Ameya, which is fly to Hong Kong for free. And then you got a 200K redemption, which because you could do Maldives. You could even transfer it to your airline of choice. My favorite is the Emirates. I also have a thing for Singapore Airlines, but I get my stash from Axis and Infinia, so I don't move it from here. For Emirates, I typically like to use this one. Another cool one is Virgin because that's a very very cool transfer partner as well. Let's come to redemption strategies. Ameya and Dhimant, coming to you. Ameya, starting with you. Should people speculatively transfer Amex points? Because you hear a lot about these. When should I transfer? What's the right time? How do you typically go about it?
Sure, I think avoid FOMO. Definitely, I think Amex is one of the currencies which is reasonably stable. Amex specifically, I would prefer to keep things within Amex. Like I don't want to say, oh, I've accumulated so much. Let me just put it inside Marriott anyway. No, I'll wait for a few reasons, right? So I think number one, there are occasional transfer bonuses. A transfer bonus is not something one should depend on, but opportunistically use. You will find a lot of people saying that, oh, you every year you get this 30% transfer bonus from Marriott. That's nonsense. You will not get it every year, but you will get it once in a while. And if you do get it, if you think that it works out for you, you can definitely transfer. Or like sometimes you will have transfer bonuses to individual airline programs. Right? There was a nice Cathay offer some time back with which you needed to combine some lots of things, but I was able to get a fair chunk of bonus miles using that one. Or there is an Air Canada offer. This one is through Marriott, and we can talk about it. So, in general, what I'll say is that I think Amex is a stable place to keep your currency. Don't transfer things out unless you have plans. Amex can come in super handy if you really need something. It gives you that flexibility, and if there are bonus transfer offers that come by, use it if you think.
Dhimant, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when transferring Amex points? This is an interesting one because, like, we've all screwed up in the past. What are things that people should avoid doing when redeeming Amex points?
Yeah, one though, like I'm assuming you're talking only about transfers right now because I would say avoid anything that gives you less than 50 paise value. And for example, if you're getting statement credit, etc., just avoid it. Number one. Second is that when you're looking at the travel partners, and again, I think we are going to take you through that travel partner list as well, but be careful about what you can transfer from other programs at a better rate, right? So, one thing which I feel that a lot of times people may get excited to see in Singapore Airlines because we have a Singapore Airlines plan. First, look at Axis and an HDFC and then come here, for example, right? So, if you're going to get a better ratio, it would make more sense for you to do that, right? Third, adding to what Amaya said, a very hilarious incident. I remember somebody came up to me and said, मुझे 1.5 या 1.6 लाख MR मिला फ्लैट चार्ज लेके. मैंने बोला कैसे? तो they already have factored in the United promo for some reason, the Marriott Bonvoy transfer, and then again a Marriott Bonvoy to United transfer, and they've said that they've already calculated that and they're already assumed that that's going to come. So don't expect none of the promos are promised by Amex yearly, annually, right? So please do not depend on it. The last part I would say is speculately इसलिए transfer मत करना Amex में, because of the simple reason that most of the transfers are instant, and it will give you enough time for you to see the seat availability, gather your large thoughts around whether you want to book that seat or not, and then only transfer. And again, MX MR stay perennially in your account, right? So at least I can say with confidence ki the time that I've held MR, I've hardly seen any devaluation, right? So obviously, I hope this episode doesn't change that, but it's not happened as yet, right? So there's no reason for it to get devalued, I feel, because there is no such uh, error or something that hurts anybody, right? So that's what my suggestion would be.
All right, let's bring this to our final section. Our final section is, what does one do with Amex points? You all have been talking about transfer करो, यहाँ से वहाँ जाओ, Marriott Bonvoy भेजो, Cathay भेजो, Emirates भेजो. कैसे भेजें? How do we transfer? How do we actually make this happen? So I thought, when we were planning this episode, we said, why not give you a real life guide on how does one log into their American Express account, and from there, what are the different options available for airline partners? How do you actually do these transfers? And then what happens next? So let's take a look at this. So I'm going to share my screen now. So you're on the American Express website, like you can see. You go on there, you hit your login button, you come in there, and you sign in with your user ID and password. I click that, we log in. Now, once we log in, what it's going to do is it's going to show you your American Express dashboard. This will typically show you what your credit limit is, what your total balance is, how many points you have, so on and so forth. Now, what you want to do if you want to transfer rewards is you come and click here, Explore Rewards. Now, once you click on this green button called Explore Rewards, it brings you to your rewards page. This is where you'll see what kind of things you can do with your rewards. You can redeem it for vouchers. You can pay for statement credit, cover your card charges. You can redeem for travel. You can pay with points at checkout, or you can transfer points. What we're going to do is we're going to click on transfer points. Now, when you come here, you got to click on view all. When you click on view all, what this is going to do is going to show you the transfer partners that are available here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on airline right here, and we're going to see what all airline options are available. So it shows that you've got Emirates Skywards, Singapore Krisflyer, Virgin Atlantic, Asia Miles, which is Cathay Pacific, BAEC, which is British Airways Executive Club, Etihad Guest, and Qatar Airways Privilege Club. So let's say Adil being Adil, he wants to transfer his points to Emirates. So typically you click on show details. Now I have already added and linked my Emirates account here. So all I have to do is I have to drag the slider and say, if I want to transfer 40,000 points, that's it. It shows me that it will convert to 20,000 because the Amex ratio is 2:1. And you can transfer in batches of 800 is what the rule that Amex has defined for this. I click on review transfer. Once I do this, it asks me to enter card authentication details. And once I do that, you can go ahead and complete the transfer. But if you have not added a particular membership, then what you need to do is you need to come here Like BAEC, you will notice that I have not added my partner account number. So I'll come here, I'll put my BAEC frequent flyer number here, click continue, finish the process. Once I finish the process, then it's as easy as coming here and dragging the slider and then completing the transfer. So, like we said, so it's as simple as that for airline transfers. So, if you look at airline transfers all over again, all of them are 2 is to 1. Emirates, Singapore Airlines, Virgin Atlantic, Asia Miles, BAEC, Etihad, and Qatar Airways Privilege Club. Keep in mind the transfer ratio is the same 2 is to 1. The multiples in which you have to transfer will change. Like for Emirates, you have to transfer in multiples of 800. Same for SQ, same for Virgin, same for Asia Miles. For BAC, you transfer in multiples of 1200, Etihad 1600, and Qatar Airways 500. Let's come to now hotels. In hotels, it gives you option to transfer to two programs, Marriott Bonvoy and Hilton. Let's say you want to transfer to Bonvoy, same, come here. Here, minimum transfer is 100 points, max transfer in a year, 900,000 points, transfer increments, 100 points. And the way you can transfer is just go here, drag the slider, and it will transfer. Very, very simple. It says transfer time is up to 48 hours. 99.99% of the time, the transfer is instant. So there you go. So now what happens is, let's say I'm in airlines, let's say I've transferred my points to Krisflyer. uh, what do I do next? For that, we have a dedicated episode that is already live on our YouTube channel on Krisflyer and Singapore Airlines. Go take a look at that episode where we've shown you in real time how to run an award search and how to go ahead and book your Singapore Airlines dream flight that you've ever desired. If you'd like to know more about these specific programs, we have done two of these already, which is Krisflyer and Qatar Airways Privilege Club. If you'd like us to do a program on Asia Miles, BAEC, Etihad, Virgin, Emirates, or any of the other particular airlines, please let us know. We'll try and build that content and bring it to you. We've already released an episode on Bonvoy. We've also released an episode on Accor. Go take a look. Links will come up on screen. We'll also include them in the YouTube description. All right. My favorite transfer partner here, obviously, is Emirates. I use it for my frequent travel. But other than that, I think one of my edge cases is Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. But I'm not the designated expert on VA. Our designated expert on VA and Asia Miles both is Ameya. Ameya, let me bring you in here. You want to share a couple of sweet spots for our audience on how we can optimize for VAFC and AM.
Sure, and I think both these programs are great with respect to extreme value. I'll talk about where it can work out, especially from an India perspective, right? So when it comes to Virgin, I think there's two things that I can definitely highlight. Number one, if you want to fly into Europe, we discussed it in the Italy episode, but 15,000 points plus taxes, you can get a flight into Europe, either directly into Paris or Amsterdam, or connecting it. So you can do like Amsterdam to Rome, for example. And the 50,000 points plus taxes, I think that is the best that you're going to get ever for that. The other nice sweet spot that you have with Virgin, definitely from an India angle, is if you want to go to Japan, it is one of the cheapest ways to get one of the ANA flights. And ANA, they've got a brilliant product, and their own rates they've hiked up for their own redemptions. But to get ANA tickets cheap, business class or economy, Virgin is something that can work out really well.
Ame, ANA पे एक question. ANA is just Bombay and Delhi, right? They
Yeah,
don't
just
have
Bombay and
a band.
Delhi, direct to
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah, but the product is great, right? I mean, the ANA suites, particularly in business, are
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
ANA business class is one of the best that you can get. Like I think as an experience, if you have a chance to pick going directly versus going with a hop-over through Japan on ANA,
Yeah,
pick up the ANA. It's one of the experience things one should definitely go for.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's something one can use if one wants to get the maximum value. Asia Miles is the other one which is great for value, right? So I already mentioned the Hong Kong redemption, which is like 12,500 points you can get into Hong Kong. The other one that I can tell you that's a little more India specific that Cathay can be really great for is flights to the West Coast US. So, for example, if you want to do Bangalore to San Francisco, strictly on the miles cost, it is one of the cheapest redemptions you can get. If I remember, you'll get it at economy 38,000 miles plus, taxes are hefty, but plus taxes. But here's the thing, if you want to go to the other extreme on this, first class, 140,000 miles plus taxes. Bangalore to SFO via Hong Kong. It's like a 20x hour flight end to end. And you want to fly first class and you want to stretch your budget with respect to doing so on miles. I think the Cathay program, Asia Miles, is great for that.
Awesome. Yeah,
Right.
one can also add here is we spoke about it in the Qatar episode. Adil, is the Avios ecosystem, right? So we said that how Axis and HDFC have an entry point for 1:1, right? But do also remember that there will be many times when you will fall short of your points, right? Axis में आप डाल दोगे सब अकॉर में, and they put those hardcore limits to your outflows, right? So there are going to be days where you're not going to have HDFC stash, your Axis is gone to Accor, it's empty, your transfer limits are over. At that time, having a 2:1 partner on Avios is going to be super helpful, right? So, and good part is now that Qatar and British Airways are also interchangeable. I mean, if you look at the ratio here, you can use either of the one, get into the ecosystem, and Avios in itself is a huge budget, right? So, like large universe, right? So, like that is another sweet spot I feel. And again, ability of you then moving these miles internally within the entire ecosystem, Finnair, Iberia, that all will get activated, right? So it's beautiful to have an ABS one more partner.
Yeah, I think that's very well summarized, Dhimant. The one more aspect I think we have to cover is what about airlines that are not part of this particular portfolio, right? So you got these 8 airlines here, but there are a lot of other airlines that we might want to hire redemptions on that are not part of this list. So how do you do that? So there's another cool way of doing that. So Amex, like we showed you, has 1:1 transfers to Marriott. So what you could do is you could transfer your Amex points to Marriott, and from Marriott, then you can transfer it to your designated airline of choice. For example, one of my favorite programs is Japan Airlines, because the redemptions are just incredible on Japan Airlines. So, for example, what you need to do is we'll give you the URL. You can come to this particular URL, which is this Marriott Bonvoy page. So, you transfer your Amex points to Marriott Bonvoy. Once they're in Marriott Bonvoy, what you can do is you can come in here, and once you come into this particular page, you can see the rules of engagement here. So more often than not, all the airlines that you can transfer points to from Marriott are done at a ratio of 3:1. 3 Marriott Bonvoy points is equal to 1 airline point of your choice. Now, there's a bonus or a kicker that Marriott adds every time you transfer points in multiples of 60,000, which is in 60,000 only. If you do multiples of 60,000, that's incorrect, because if you do 120, you will not get. So let's say every time you transfer points in a batch of 60,000, they give you 5,000 points extra. What does that mean? When you transfer 60,000 points, they will convert to 20,000 points. But like we said, Marriott gives you 5,000 extra air miles. So 60,000 Marriott points is equal to 25,000 airline points. Now, this applies to all airlines except a few. Like, you can come here, if you zoom in here, this offer does not apply to American Airlines Advantage program. It does not apply to Avianca Life Miles. It does not apply to Delta Sky Miles. There are total of 39 airlines that participate. You can transfer a minimum of 3,000 points, a maximum of 240,000 points a day. Like you have a 10,000, like you have a 5,000 miles bonus for every 60,000 points you transfer to other airlines. If you're transferring to United, they have a preferred partnership, and instead of 5,000, you'll get 10,000, which means your ratio then changes. Your ratio becomes 2:1, while for every other airline, it becomes 3:1. Now, there are certain anomalies, like, for example, Air New Zealand, if you want to fly, the ratio is completely different. But all the others, if you see, it's typically a 3 is to 1 year. Now, how do you transfer? All you do is come here, click on transfer points. It's going to ask you to log in. So go ahead and log into your program, click on transfer points. Once we click on transfer points, the page should load up in a bit. It will show you your current Marriott Bonvoy points balance. You click and say, I want to transfer it to, let's say, Air Canada Aeroplan. You go ahead and put your frequent flyer number here for Aeroplan, whatever that frequent flyer number may be. You go ahead and select the number of points you have. Let's say if it's 30,000 points, it converts to 10,000 points. Go ahead and click continue. It asks you for your OTP. Go ahead and process it. Ensure that the frequent flyer number you enter is absolutely correct. Please ensure the first name, last name, email ID, phone number, and address on your frequent flyer account and on your Marriott Bonvoy account matches. If you don't, that's going to be a problem and your points will not go through. Dhimant, Ameya, any tips and tricks on this particular part that we covered?
So there are a set of exclusive partners here which no other program has an access to, right? So HDFC and Axis both don't have access to partners which Amex has via Bonvoy, right? So let me talk about two of them. One is Alaska and second is American Airlines, right? Now we spoke about Seats.aero as a tool in some of the other episodes, and if you've not seen that, please go through that episode, right? Very interesting thing is that most of the Seats.aero recommendation will throw you something like an Alaska or an American Airlines when you search popular destinations, right? Especially on certain sectors. And you see, and I've got people frantically calling me and messaging me कि अरे मुझे इतना सस्ता मिल रहा है लेकिन points कैसे मिलेंगे A and Alaska के हैं? This is how you get the points, right? So it looks like a very low ratio, 3 is to 1, but trust me, if you're able to get an American Airlines ka mileage requirement chart, you will realize that it may sometimes even turn out better than a 1 is to 1 ratio on other programs, right? So it's very, very deceptive. Do always check American Airlines, and this is the only way to earn American Airline points in India, only legal way I know of, right? So would strongly encourage looking at the sweet spots. Obviously, United is a sweet spot, everybody knows it, right? So if you are done with Axis and if you're done with not having any more access quota, this is the second best way of getting United miles, right? So please do focus on that. Amaya, what about you?
I think from my angle, apart from the American ones, I think the ones I'll call out and the ones I do transfer to are the two Japanese programs, Japanese Airlines and ANA. And I think we need detailed episodes on some of these. Japanese
Yeah.
Airlines, JAL, we've talked about it a number of times. Sweet spots are typically short distance travel. You get excellent value, and it's is a good alternative to transfer into if your access points are locked up elsewhere, like in Accor. The other one is ANA, which is where my points have been going in a lot lately. Due to this one particular benefit that they have, which is essentially what they call a round the world ticket. Now, we will have dedicated episodes on this in due time, but think of it as a single ticket that lets you book a flight around the world with a few rules. You need to cross the Pacific Ocean once, you need to cross the Atlantic Ocean once, you need to have a ground stop in Asia, Europe, and Americas. You can only go east to west or west to east. You can't trace back. There's a few rules like this, but you can get insanely good deals. Number one, with respect to the sheer value. So if you, for example, need to travel into America, you can go to America from the east and then travel back from the west. You'll get crazy value, like something like I've been able to do 75,000 points economy, 115,000 points business. That is insane. Number two, you are able to change the dates on these bookings. So once you've fixed your itinerary, you can say, okay, in the next year, I can plan to take this flight whenever I want to. Now, we will do a detailed episode there. But one of the only ways for me to transfer into ANA is going to be through Marriott Bonvoy. So I think it opens it up. We unfortunately do not have cards that have transfer partners from India, but so Marriott is the way to go for us.
So I think it's about while we are recording this, it's 2:30 a.m. in the morning. It's about time we wrap this up. But before we wrap up, एक छोटी सी एक्सरसाइज करते हैं. We'll ask 4 rapid fire questions both to Dhimant and Ameya. और ये rapid fire style करते हैं, फटाफट करते हैं. Dhimant, best Amex card for earning points. You can choose only one. You can't choose two for each of these questions. Best Amex card for earning points.
Gold.
Best airline transfer partner. Ameya.
Virgin.
Dhimant.
Asia Miles.
Best hotel transfer partner. Dhimant.
Obviously, Bonvoy एक ही है, मतलब no questions asked.
Ameya.
Yeah, Marriott itself. Yeah, I mean, you can get good value with Hilton in a few things, but rare.
All right. One tip for someone who's new to Amex, what would you leave them with? Dhimant.
Get the trifecta.
Get the trifecta. Ameya.
Understand the transfer partners. Little bit of patience, but in 1 year you will be able to, it pays for itself with a trip.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Dhimant. Thank you, Ameya. Thank you to all of you for bearing with us and going through this entire episode and this series and giving us all this love in the form of comments, in the form of DMs. Please do help spread the words. आपके दोस्तों को भेजो, WhatsApp forward करो और जाके लोगों को बताओ that there is a channel called the Great Indian Points and Miles Show where we are kind of sharing the love on how you can travel the world, one city, one destination, one country at a time, hopefully for free, and make the most of travel. Again, we look forward to hearing your thoughts. Do keep sending us your comments on what you'd like us to cover next. A lot of you told us to do a dedicated episode on Amex. We're doing this for you. We look forward to doing more with you, hopefully soon. With that, this is Dhimant, Ameya, and Aadil signing off from the Great Indian Points and Miles Show.
Lights flashing bright, we're on the go. Tune in now, there's so much to know. Earning bits, travel dreams we sow, all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. 0 to hero in the blink of an eye. Fly first class, no need to be shy. Redemption sweet, touching the sky. Award seats booked, let's give it a try. Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo. Hidden treasures in every flight. Nights in places that feel so right. From deserts to the city lights. Get set, steal those dazzling sights. Miles stack up each passing day. Rewards come back in a million ways. In this game you want to play the Great Indian Adventure, yay! Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo.